Hello guys, and welcome to the World Tour Nations Cup analysis. My last video was of course the Nations Cup vlog, so we took a tour around Salzburg and obviously the journey there as well. Now in this one, similar to what we did at Nürburgring, we're actually going to look at what happened in the Nations Cup race. My thought process behind my choices, my decisions during the race, and the overall outcome for Team GB as well. Now, I'm not going to cover all the races I wasn't in. It's just going to look at the races I was involved in and really give you my thought process. There is an exception in that we're going to look at the incident that involved Zocchi in the third race, because that really had a significant impact by the end of it all. But even so, before all of that, I did say in the vlog we will have a look at some of the practice laps. So what we're actually going to do is just look at the qualifying lap, or what the qualifying combo was, because you never saw that on stream. And then from there we will then jump into the Nations Cup race and have a look at what happened. So without further ado, let's jump to that qualifying combo. So as we get underway, just passing the pit wall exits, here we go with the KTM Crossbow qualifying combo that we did. So we're in the KTM Crossbow, we're at Yamagiwa, and we're on comfort soft tyres. So coming to this corner, it's all about trail braking, trying to maintain a lot of speed here, trying not to drop under that 80 mile an hour. I did there just, but as we exit this corner, we've got a really good amount of momentum here as we go up the hill. Now the hill was kind of sketchy a little bit. You've got to turn in here and hope the rear doesn't come out too much. You see the rear just come out a little bit and then bring it back. And then it's all about maintaining stability. This car was very unstable, so at a live event it becomes a little bit even more unstable because you're not used to the wheel as much, not used to the environment. We had to be careful during this section. So coming into here, again, it's all about trail braking into this corner. You've seen Yamagiwa before as we come through this left-hander, trying to make sure that we don't run too wide, we don't hit, which is all very well and good. As you can see, the ghost is ahead, so we did have time in this lap. My time was a 1:53.6, as you've already seen in the vlog. Let's see what we do here. So coming into here. Now you could cut this at the event, you could cut it more than that even, so there was potentially more time in it, but you can see how much we gained there. 1 or 2 attempts gained straight away through there as we head now towards the left-hander. Going to this left-hander, braking zone, very nice and easy. It's where the letters start, and that's where you kind of start judging your braking zone on this track. Coming in, you've got to be careful on exit here, so that's why I said in third gear, stabilise the rear a little bit, and then I could exit the corner. As you can see, we're 1/10 up now on this time as we come into this right-left kink. Coming into here, again, you've got to be careful, try and maintain car stability, hit that left curb, come through the corner, and as we leave that corner, again, we're gaining time on the ghost here as we head towards the last corner. Again, you want to stay tight, and third gear, try and maintain stability as well with the gear change. There is a bit of a delay in there, so staying in third is advantageous as we leave that corner. Lost a little bit of time initially on that corner. We started to gain a little bit back, but now it's about even as we head towards the line, and that is the qualifying combo we used in Austria. So guys, hopefully you enjoyed that little summary of qualifying, but let's now jump into the actual race. Obviously I was in the first race for the Nations Cup. Now, Team GB had decided this before we'd even got there. So we decided that Matthew was going to the Group 1 race. He's very good at Group 1. Obviously being a pad player, going to a wheel is a little bit harder, so it's better for him to go in the thing he's comfortable with. So as a group we decided that was the best. Then me and Zocchi were sort of like, well, we're not really fond of the other categories, as you can see. This is N300, so this is one I got. And Zocchi did the N500, which is at Willow Springs. Now, the nice thing Zocchi had was that he could test the track and the car combos. I couldn't test Fuji because it wasn't in the game yet. So, yes, that's the problem we had. But as you can see, here is the grid. So let's go through the grid initially. Now, because of where we came 5th overall in qualifying, did Team GB. We got the 5th choice car, so it wasn't the worst thing in the world. Not like Nürburgring World Tour, where we got just the last pick. But again, we're not sure of the balance of performance at the time. So sometimes there's a little bit of guesswork here and there. Unfortunately, my guesswork went wrong a little bit. So let's find out what everybody was in. As you can see, N300, and we're at Fuji. So there's the Alpine. So Yamanaka, Team Japan, picked that car, which apparently at the time, so let me just pause that a second. There was rumours suddenly going around on the next day that the Alpine was actually the quickest car. Conspiracy confirmed? I don't know, but yeah, so the Alpine obviously on pole position, and that was the first pick. Hungary and Patrick, as you can see, all the aliens are in this race, which is absolutely balmy to be honest with you. Patrick got the RX-7, which again, an interesting choice. Interesting choice. When people were going through the choices, I was very confused. As we have France and Leonhardt in the Lamborghini, and then we had Marine in the NSX, again, 90s Japanese car. So then we get to myself there in the R34 GTR. Now, when it got to me, I had two choices. Now, my heart was saying go for the Pantera again and have a bloody good race in the Pantera. Because I knew it was quick on the straights anyway. It was in Interlagos. But I did remember how well Skippy did in this car. Now, the problem is, I thought Skippy did not amazing because of the car, but the car was good in itself. You know, it's four-wheel drive, it could power out the corners. One thing that didn't click with me, and it really should have, I wish I tested the cars more. So before the regional finals, I'll be testing a lot of cars. If we find the combos that is, I'll be testing a lot of the cars as much as I can. But it didn't have great top speed, and the gear change was very delayed. So it was like fourth, fifth. It wasn't like fourth, fifth. It was very slow. But four-wheel driving, I had good, good exits out of corners because all four wheels plant the throttle. You go out the corners. There's no real drama behind it. So I started in fifth position in the Skyline. I had seen a Polyphony Digital employee do this race because they all did the races to test it. My car was struggling on the straights, so I already knew I had a battle in mind. So all I wanted to do was either come fifth or around this place just to maintain my position. So there we have Santiago, Eric, also picking the Nissan Skyline R32 this time, which was a similar problem to me. And then we have the Pantera in 7th position, so we'll look out for that later. Then we got Lightning in 8th place in the Ferrari 512 BB. Then we have Giorgio in the Corvette C3. Look out for this car. This car is an absolute missile. We then have the Toyota Supra, so a lot of 90s Japanese cars here. Then we have the BMW M3 Sport Evolution, and then finally Brazil at the back in the Fairlady Z, which is actually quite a good car, actually, it seems, in the regional final in Asia and Oceania. So, at the start, I knew at top speed I was going to struggle with, so initially I just wanted slipstream, and literally I knew straight away that I would actually find out how good or bad my car was. So you actually see the first two set off, but because the Countach is so slow off the line, look at the gap between second place and third place. Absolutely insane. It slowly builds back up. Look, there's the gap, and everyone else really close together. So we had a good run behind the NSX there. But again, we were going to struggle. We really were going to struggle. And then we saw it straight away. We're like, okay. And look at the Pantera. Look how quick it's got past Eric already. So it was coming up. So I went defensive there. You can see that as we come into this first corner. Now, we didn't really know our braking zones because we hadn't done a practice race before. Fortunately, everybody got it pretty spot on, to be fair. There's a little bit of argy-bargy there, but nothing major. So continuing on, obviously we'll get a good exit out of corners. We're still 5th place. Look at Giorgio. Giorgio, 9th to basically 5th, just dropped to 6th a little bit. That's how fast that thing is in a straight line. It was rapid. And we'll get onto that in a little bit later on as we come to this left-hander. Now, Fuji is a good track of mine. I'm actually really good at it automatically. I have no idea why. It's coming into here. If I just pause it there. So you could just see top of your screen. It's really hard because we don't have control of the cameras here. So we've got the NSX, the Countach, the Skyline. You can't see the Countach because it's right behind the GT World Tour things. But you can see the blue of the Skyline and you can see the green of Giorgio right at the top. Okay, so there's going to be slight contact here. So basically, Marine sort of backs off a little bit, and that means Leonhardt has to back off a little bit, and then I sort of tap Leonhardt. Now, initially, it's going to say there's going to be concern. You can see the gaps here, so 0.15. It just happened. Look how close we are here. Look at the Taylor cars here. So the Lamborghini defending that, which is what you do on that corner. You go outside, inside, etc. But look at the first two really pulling away. Everyone else is really, really struggling in terms of pace straight away. But by the way, this is nothing against these guys because these guys are rapid anyway. We've seen Yamanaka already make the World Finals now for Japan. And obviously, Patrick's won the Nissan Cup, and yeah, he's bloody quick. So we continue on, and as you can see, a whole tail of cars there. Marine just breaking away a little bit. There's the incident involving me and Leonhardt. Nothing major there. It's a slight tap, as I say. I knew nothing would come of it, because if it did, I'd be like, what the hell's going on here? Nothing happened there. So we're all good. So we continue on. You can see the gaps around the left-hand side. Look, Giorgio in 5th place. That thing's a rocket. So I knew this thing was a rocket when we got to this corner, right? Because I should have the advantage coming out this corner. 4-wheel drive, plant the foot. I should initially have the advantage. The minute I change gear, because I believe that Chevrolet's probably only got 4 gears. It did in GT1. It flies, right? So you can see the gap there. 0.610. Sorry, 0.4, 0.5. Look at it go up. 0.6, 0.7. Look, that's tenths. That's tenths. In fact, let's rewind that a little bit. Let's rewind that. If we can get this right. So let's look at the gaps, right? So we're looking at my gap to Giorgio. Now we got a good run out this corner, so initially it's absolutely fine. So you can see it's 0.4 at the moment, goes to 0.3, goes to 0.2. So this at this point we're right behind him. We then change gear. Look at this go. 0.3, 0.4, 0.5. How can you compete with this? 0.6, 0.7. 0.8. This is down 1 straight. 0.9. 1 second. Look, we've lost slipstream now. 1.1. 1.2. What? That's a whole second on 1 straight. Absolutely balmy. And look, Giorgio caught these guys up. That's how fast that Chevrolet Stingray was. Unbelievable. And that's why a couple of guys, or actually everybody, wants one-make races for nations. Because that's insane. That really is insane. But even so, we continue on. Giorgio obviously making another place there. Big battle between Giorgio, Leonhardt, and Marine in there. I'm a bit further back. I'm now trying to catch up. So obviously I have the good advantage out of corners, but they're battling, so I should catch up anyway. But the Pantera is staying with me there as well, so I do wish I had that Pantera. I do wish I'd gone with my heart a little bit there. But even so, look, I'm looking for the move on the inside of the Lamborghini there. Really trying to make some moves if I can make them, because I knew I'd be under pressure from the Pantera. And you can see Lightning making ground as well. All the old cars were bloody brilliant in this, so it's kind of frustrating that car choice is really affecting the racing this much in these kind of events. Like, no disrespect to what they're doing, but the I think it was the Chevrolet that was a new car in this. If they're going to demonstrate new cars, make it a one-make with the new cars. As you see, the Pantera now making its way past. Again, I can't really do that much. Can't really do much. Just listen to the commentary there as well. And you can just see how close we all are. So the NSX really struggling to defend here. Look at Giorgio. Look at him go. Now, Giorgio's a brilliant driver as well, by the way. He's absolutely rapid. So the fact that he's got a rapid car in this. And remember, he's starting 9th. And this is the end of lap 2. And he's already up to this position. So you can see here now. Watch him suddenly escape Marine now. Look at this. 2 tenths. Remember, the other guys have slipstream here. Oh, he's slowly starting to bring it back. Oh, then the change gear. Then he loses a bit of time. This is with slipstream. And he can't catch up. What? Absolutely crazy. So, as you can see here, we're just trying to stay with him at this point. Eric right behind me. Eric's got the same situation. The only difference between me and Eric was our gear ratios. So, on the straights, we constantly saw when we were near each other that he would change gear, or I would change gear first because I've got 1 extra gear, I think. Then he would change gear. Then I would change gear. Then he would change gear. So obviously it would just change constantly. As you see, a little bit of contact there between these guys. Obviously that brings us right back into it again, so we can try and look to try and gain a position. As you see, Law gets a penalty, so that's good for us. We can look to get the advantage. We're trying to get sneaky up the inside there, but remember Eric's there as well. We've got to really try and make positions here. Look at this, going to go 3 wide now. This was unbelievable. Remember, this is live in the Red Bull hangar as we exit. Look at that. Oh, it's awesome. So Eric was going for the move here as well. Really, really good battling. Really good race. This was good fun, by the way. Even though the cars were a little bit unbalanced, it was still really good fun. It's just unfortunate that they were unbalanced, and they were obviously better balanced here than in the game. So, and we've seen that in the game. Recently, we had the N500 race. Everyone was in the Porsche. What does that say, really? Balance of performance in these cars is very, very difficult to do. So, personally, PD, if you do watch this, please put it to one make. Put nations to one make. As we'll see later on in the race, we have a one make race. and it's bloody brilliant, that's for sure. As you can see, Giorgio is just pulling away here. We've got Leonhardt, Marine, Law, and then me. Now, Law's about to take his slowdown penalty. Obviously, you have those slowdowns on the straight, so he's about to lose all his positions. You'll see that gap just drop suddenly. Look at that, bang, straight away, straight past, because it automatically slows you down. I love that system, by the way. They need that in the game straight away. It stops people braking at the line at the end. It's brilliant. So, Marina Leonhardt sort of kept us in this a little bit, because look, they're there. We've got Eric, we've got Lightning in there as well. Lightning was struggling with the rear ends. That was the weakest of the old cars, that Ferrari. And I knew it'd be weak, because Alegner at the Nürburgring was struggling with that car as well, and he's very good with his tyres. So the fact that he was struggling with the rear, I knew it was always going to be a bit of an issue in that car. As you can see, Giorgio is just catching the other guys like hand over fist in terms of that car. It's absolutely rapid, that thing in a straight line. Obviously, it'll struggle a little bit more in the corners, don't get me wrong, but Fuji, look at the size of the straight. It's massive. As you can see, we're right behind the NSX here. Look at this. This is a 90s sandwich here. Obviously, we're trying to defend and attack at the same time. We've been doing it fairly well throughout the race. We're trying to attack the NSX. The NSX obviously in the same boat as us in terms of gear changes, slow gear changes, but we continue on all the same. But look at this, side by side with Eric. This is where it was good fun with Eric. We really had a decent battle here, so big shout out to Eric. He's got a YouTube channel as well, so go check that out. Eric GTR, and then a whole lot of numbers. You'll have to maybe YouTube it a little bit. Eric, comment on the post if you watch this, and then put it in there. But as you can see, there's a lot of cars still close together. It's very close. So obviously at this point, I'm just hoping that the battles keep me in the fray. I've got Lightning behind me, which I've got to be aware of, because it's Lightning. He's bloody fast in anything. And I got a sneaky move there. So let me just talk about this move. That corner promotes epic racing. This whole section promotes epic racing because there's more than one line, right? So I've come into this corner. Let me just rewind it a little bit. This is a perfect spot, actually. Oh no, we want to go a tiny bit further back. How do I rewind this a bit easier? Okay, here we go. So, as you can see where we're set up at the moment, and I was thinking this at the time as well, so I'm giving you like sort of memories from what was happening. I could see Eric and Marine fighting, right, okay? At any given point, if you're side by side here, always take the inside line, because the car will have to give you room. You've got such an advantage if you take that inside line. Now, they can accelerate out, but they're going to struggle and worry about the curb a little bit. So, can I slow this down, is the next question. I can do it in here somewhere. Where's the speed? Here we go. So, as you can see, they come out the corner, they're side by side. So at this point, I already know where I'm about to go. I'm going to go on the inside and try and follow Marin, because he's going to defend Eric. Eric's going to try and go to the outside to try and get the cutback. That's always going to happen, because he's trying to make the move. So as we continue on, you can see that I've positioned my car in the right way. I know exactly what I'm going to do. So at this point, I go towards the inside. I know what Eric's trying to do, trying to maintain the speed, trying to get the cutback potentially. And you can see how I then have sort of a trap position. Now he's going to have the inside for the next corner, but it's going to give me a good run off the last corner. You've got to remember the last corner is followed by this massive long straight here, right? It's huge. It goes on for days. You saw Giorgio getting a second on me from the start to the end of the straight. If you get a good run off that corner, you can get in the slipstream and try and overtake going into the first corner. Now, the R34 is slightly slower than the R32. It's just the way it is. But the R34 is much better on the brakes. So that's what you've got to use to its advantage. And I've been doing that throughout the race. So one thing I haven't mentioned, actually, is the braking, obviously, in a live event, you've got to learn it on the fly. You've got to bang, bang, learn it on the fly. We've got tyre wear, we've got all sorts in there. Every time I broke, because we've got slipstream as well, I always thought I was going to crash into the car in front, because I was always the last of the breakers. But it never happened, because this car is so good on the brakes. It's a modern car. It'll have better brakes. It's just the way it is. So, let's put it back up to normal speed. As you see, Eric trying to get the move done there. So now we follow through. We can get the good run out there. Eric's had to tighten his line a little bit to try and make the move. Now we are very, very close. We can try and use the slipstream as to our advantage here. And as you can see, I'm slowly gaining on Eric. 147, 153. We just changed gear. Then Eric will change gear in a second. There it is. 136, 126. You can see how it's changing there just with our gear changes. Me and Eric got the exact same problem in these cars. So I had to go back into the slipstream to then pull out. And then I'm going to go for the late move into the braking zone. But Eric Eric did try and outbrake me there. I wanted to show that. So Eric tried to outbrake me there, right? So even if you show your nose in that situation, the guy's either not going to fall for it and go in, or he'll give you a little bit of room and do whatever. But because he tried to outbrake me in an older car, he actually lost out on the braking zone. So I could just take the corner as normal, and then you can see I am side by side. So as I come out of here, I've got lightning behind me. That was a bit of a bad change of camera. So I've got lightning behind me at this point, right? Now, lightning obviously will want to make moves. He's got a chance of 2 positions here. So he's right behind me at that point, so he's going to use me as a slipstream because he's going to try and go around the outside on this left-hander. Going around on the outside on this left-hander is quite good because the guy has to give you room coming around here. So he'll always give you room here. And then you've got the inside for this long right-hander. It's better to be on the inside here than it is to be here. So if you're on the outside line, going into that corner, so coming down here, it's amazing. Trust me, it's absolutely amazing. I'm hoping you can see my mouse, by the way. Otherwise, that's just gone way out the window. But as you can see, me and Eric, side by side, 0.059, 0.060. Thereabouts. We're obviously then into the corner. As we then go into this left-hander with the leaders. And as you can see, we're still changing positions. We're side by side with each other. Lightning very close now. I think Lightning does get the move done here on that left-hander. Let's have a look at the side as you see this battle between Yamanaka and Patrick. I'm pretty sure Lightning gets the move done. Oh, here we go. So Yamanaka goes for the move, and then hopefully we see it behind. We don't see it, but Lightning has gone up. He's gone into 7th position there. So basically, obviously the older cars are faster on the straights. He's managed to get that move done. So we're now over here, coming to that right-hander that these guys have just been in. As we come into here, look at the gap to Lightning in a second. Or Lightning to me, sorry. It gets close. He is right on my trumpet. I tell you that much right now. So when we then get to the right-hander, I've got the inside. So when we get to that corner, Lightning is here and I'm here. So I can then take the inside. He could follow me, but I think he just goes offline slightly. And that loses him a bit of time, which is at 3 tenths. And as you're going to see in a second, Eric's lost another position to the Pantera. Pantera had a penalty, and look, it's caught us up again. Do wish I took that. So Eric's now fighting with Law here in the Pantera. And then, believe it or not, Eric catches up to Lightning. Lightning's made a really big mistake somewhere, and coming out of the last corner, they are 3 wide. I'm not even kidding. Look at that, Eric's there. Look, 3 wide, look at that! So we've managed to get the advantage. But Yamanaka here gets the victory. It's great, look at his headset. Way! That's if you can see that, because my camera's in front of it. But Giorgio, look at that, Giorgio caught up. We managed to get 6th place, and look at that, 3 wide behind me as well. Law, Santiago, and Lightning. As I say, a lot of that was a little, well, not a lot of that. Quite a large portion of that was car choice. As you saw, Giorgio got a 2nd on the straight. That's 5 seconds a lap. You can't make 5 seconds up in the corners. And especially with tyre wear on, straight line speed becomes more important because you will always gain that 1 second on the straight. Whereas in the corners, understeer, the R34 is going to lose more of its tyres. The sort of strength is reduced. So that is something to look at for the future if I was if I was Polyphony Digital and looking at the Nations Cup event. But even so, it's a cracking race. We've had a grand finale finish there. Did Eric lose out by 1,000th of a second? What? That's nuts. That's really nuts. Look at that. 3 guys here. 1,000th behind Law 48 thousandths behind Lightning, and then Lightning 1.2 because I think he made a mistake on that last section there. So 6th place I was actually really happy with because I was in the slowest car on the straights. I'd say alright in the corners, but my tyre wear as well was awful compared to a lot of people. So I was fairly happy with that. Fairly happy. And we can use that then because that sets the grid for the next race. So that meant M. Thomas starts 6th position. And then obviously where M. Thomas finishes, we then look at Zocchi. So let's go to Zocchi's race because that was quite significant. M. Thomas came 6th, I think it was. In fact, we could probably jump to that. Where are we? Here we go. So if we look at this point table quickly, 7, 7, 14 points. We're still in with a shot of this podium at this point, which is nice, which is exactly what we wanted. Japan and Hungary sort of leading the way here, kind of dominating. So let's go to where I want to go in this video. So I believe this is going to be the start of the last lap. And here we go, start of the last lap. So as you can see, we've got Adam in first place in the Nissan GT-R Nismo. We then have the Porsche. I believe that's Alexoni. We then got Zoran Zocchi in the Ferrari. We then have Snake in the DB11. And Andrew McCabe, which is Doodle, in 5th place. And then a few other guys further down that you might recognise. But obviously we're concentrating on this 2nd place battle. Zocchi's been all over this Porsche for the entire race. He's really gone for it, Zocchi. As we then go into the first corner. Now obviously if we get 2nd place, we start 2nd in the race. We also get a large amount of points which we need to catch up to the other guys. As you saw, we were a bit far behind a couple of teams, but if we get in front of Spain, who are the podium positions, it's an advantage. So at this point me and Matthew were like, oh go on, just hold position actually, just hold position. But obviously at points in this race, Zocchi will have an a probability or a position to overtake. So as you see, he's in a position to overtake, which is exactly what I was actually going to say. And you can see, very close, 3 cars here. And they were actually catching Adam as well. So Zocchi defends from Snake. Zocchi in the same position I was earlier on, actually. Having to attack and defend at the same time. It's very, very difficult to do. So coming into this right-hander and then the left. Zocchi's going to have a little bit more of an advantage here because the Ferrari's a bit more sideways, so it can actually rotate a little bit better. So as we then head towards this last section, Alexoni goes to the right hand side. I believe it's Alexoni. Apologies if it's the other Spanish guy, but I believe it's Alexoni. As then we go into this right hander. So I want to sort of take this slow now because this is quite significant. So 0.25. So as you can see at the moment, Alexoni is to the right side. Zocchi is now going to head towards there. And now it's all about the braking zone. So as you see, Zocchi straightens up. And the Porsche straightens up as well. You've got the DB11 in there as well. They're all sort of braking at the right point here. Into this right-hander we go. And as you can see, so I'm going to pause it here. There's a gap there, right? It's a smaller gap. Look at that gap now. It's expanding. He's ran wide here. This is the perfect opportunity for Zocchi, and Snake is following suit. This is RC Snake, by the way. So as you can see, as they come through here, look at the amount of track here. They've still not touched yet. There's loads of room here at this point. There's loads of room there as well. So as we come through here, we're waiting to see where the contact happens. They've still not had contact there. Look, they're still side by side. He's still making the corner here. Still making the corner, and then there's that slight contact there. So that contact is where GB gets penalised. And I personally don't feel like that is enough because look at the amount of room to the left-hand side here. Now, I know it's a right-hand corner, but Zocchi's got to go somewhere here. It's a right-hand corner. The cars are going to drift out, so you've got to drift with it. It's all about the radar. Now, the problem is GT does have quite bouncy cars, so if they do touch, it does bounce off. So at this point now, he's sort of got the whole of the weight transitioned to this front left hand side of the car. It's going to understeer massively at that point because he's been hit. The whole of the weight goes to this side, and you can see it in the car. You can see it in the suspension. Look at the way that car is loaded. It's already a right hand corner. It's now fully loaded on that corner. So he's going to run wide at that point, as you can see, and obviously that drags him off. And unfortunately then Snakes then makes a move on us, but we actually get a penalty for that. So if we go to normal speed, as you can see, Alexoni comes back on and has lost it. Now you could maybe argue that maybe it's to do with room on the exit. I don't know. Personally, Zocchi had the inside, in my opinion. The apex is right at the end on that corner. It's right, you know, when you do Willow, you've got a sharp right, so it's a constant right. You then brake straight, as we saw. They all broke straight. The Porsche then ran slightly wide into that braking zone, just outbroke himself a little bit. Zocchi went on the inside. At that point, they're side by side, right? They're doing this. They're going around the corner. They then have the sharp right-hander, which the Porsche has gone into, just hit Zocchi, the back left side of the car, which has bounced him out and loaded that front left, and then he's gone off with understeer. But that's why he could catch it as well, because it was understeer and not oversteer. If it was the opposite, I would understand it a little bit more. But Willow Springs, in terms of a racetrack as well, not the best, because obviously it's a lot about one racing line throughout the circuit, as we get the Marshall's face there. Yeah, even so, congratulations to Adam on that one. Snake getting 2nd place. And then Zocchi did get penalised for that. He got a 5-second penalty, I believe. If we can see the points. Here we go. I'd liked it to the toilet at this point. So we got 777. Now in reality, we should have got 10. We should have got 10. So if we'd have got 10, we'd have been 3 more points up. We'd have been on 24 points. Now the fact that we missed out on 3 points is quite significant, as you will see later on. It is fairly significant. For a penalty I don't believe we deserved. So let's start with the... In fact, I'm going to have a drink for a second. Just 1 second. Excuse me. So it's fairly significant. So let's go to the final race. So we're going to start on 125. Here we go. So the start of the final, and this is why I like the one make racing. This is where it's perfect. It's Nations Cup. Everybody should have the same equipment. We're all racing for a nation. It's not manufacturer series, which is perfect for racing different cars. These liveries as well, oh my word, superb. And we got 5 minutes less practice, Team GB, because our livery wouldn't work, so a bit annoying, but it's only 5 minutes, and we did get a good amount of time on there. As you can see, all the different teams, you line up on grid order as well. So where we got the penalty, potentially it could be significant that it actually saved us as well, as you will see in a little bit. We're going to watch a few laps of Zocchi. Zocchi was in the first in the car, then it was Matthew Thomas, and then I was in the last stint of the car. You see Hong Kong there. Honestly, this is brilliant. The cars have been changed as well for this race, so there was more air resistance and less downforce. So the cars were slippery. Where you might try it now and it's dead sticky, and you look at this and go, "Those guys are noobs. What's going on? I could drive that better than them." These cars have less downforce. Trust me, they are slippy. And if you touch the curbs, the green stuff, you're going to go flying. Really going to go flying. So here is our grid. 1st, 2nd, 3rd, 4th, 5th, 6th. We are 6th position as Great Britain. Obviously, with the increased air resistance, the slipstream is going to be a little bit stronger, which everybody knew about, so we knew the racing would be close. And boy, was it close, as you're about to watch. We're not going to watch all the race. We're just watching a little bit of Zocchi's stint, and then we'll jump to my stint, and I'll talk you through what was in my mind at the time on a per lap basis. As you can see, look at that, naked cars, and look how good it looked with deliveries. That'd be brilliant in the Nations, just in the Nations Cup. We can see who's who. It'd be nice if you had driver names then as well, because you could see the delivery of the cars. So GB up to 5th place. Japan being knocked down there. Was it Japan? No, Brazil. Sorry, Brazil. As you can see, coming into this corner, this is where a lot of overtaking moves will happen. Japan just pushing us out a little bit there. Pushing us down to 6th position. So Japan really trying to make moves very quickly here. Japan were quite aggressive in this one, to be fair, but they did pay for that as well. As you can see, France and Hungary side by side, Spain in there as well. Now, if we had come third, sorry, in that last race, we'd have probably been fighting with Hungary and France at this point, because Zocchi was very quick in this car. Wow, I can't speak, I apologise. But as you can see, everyone's catching up again very quickly. The slipstream is strong. As you can see, Spain just contacts with them there as well. As we continue down towards, there's a slow down area, so if you get a penalty, that's where you take the slow down. Not hugely significant on this circuit, whereas at Fuji at the start of the straight, it was massive. That Pantera really got nuked when they had that penalty. As you can see, coming to the start finish line, everybody is like neck and neck at this point. So Team Hungary looking to try and go for the move here into turn 1. So it goes for the outbraking move and gets it done. And continues on now. Obviously, as drivers, we're watching this, so I had that in my mind that you could do that at the first corner. But again, we're still 6th position at the moment. We're still doing okay. Long race, 22 laps. All 3 drivers have to get in the car. As you can see, look how close it is. Look how close it is. So Hungary, Spain, France, Japan, United States and Great Britain. We're still in there. We're still happy with this race. So obviously, we're racing fun at this point. We don't think we're going to get on the podium at all. Because of the penalty. As you see, Zocchi makes a move on the United States. Look how close it is. As you see, France got on the curbs there. It gets very slippy. United States did the same. It's very, very, very slippy on those curbs. You've got to be careful. And you will lose out straight away. Lightning was in the German car, by the way, which is why he did a very long stint, because obviously Lightning's bloody rapid anyway. Look how close Japan get there. France had obviously lost a few positions, but look how close it is. And no car will break away in this one because of the slipstream and its significance. As we then come into this right-hander, Look how close it is. And Japan, United States under investigation. Japan were being very aggressive in this race, obviously trying to get towards the front. 130 beats per minute there, 125 beats per minute. So, oh, he's dropping. Gets a bit calmer on the straights, Yamanaka. Very friendly guy by the looks of it. I never got to speak to the Japanese competitors, unfortunately. There was never a chance to speak to him. So hopefully, if I do make the World Finals, I do get to speak to them. But we'll find out. So, as you can see, we're in 5th position at this point. We're trying to get up to a significant point in this race, which I think is next lap, as we continue on. As I say, I think that we would have been further up the grid here because Zaki was doing very well in this car. The commentary team as well were brilliant. Jimmy and Tom, absolutely fantastic as we come through that right-hander. As you can see, everyone's still very, very close. Hungary can't break away because of the slipstream. With a stronger, thicker air, it's just, you know, the downforce slipstream is more significant. It really is more significant. As you see, Japan all over the back of Spain here. Oh, just lost the rear end a little bit there. And we've got Germany in there as well. So Zaki will have had to think about Germany. At this point, I'm just hoping Zaki will continue to slowly make positions, get to the end of his stint, be in a good slot for M. Thomas to then go into the car. Hopefully have a good stint, which then puts me in the car. And then we'll see what happens at the end. Slipstream, obviously, is strong. So we'll be able to make moves irrespective, hopefully. There you go. Hungary, Spain, Japan, France, and Great Britain. We're in the top 5, so we're doing okay so far. As you can see, Japan now attacking Spain. France are in there as well. And as we head towards this right-hander, I believe it's this one. As you see, Japan go for an absolute dive bomb here. There's contact. And then Spain, obviously with the weight transition and the curb. Big impact there with a lot of cars. And we got lucky. So we go straight into 3rd place here. So we're suddenly in the fight for the top 3. So we're thinking, yes! Excellent. Obviously, because we brought the slipstream behind, we've got a bit of an advantage here, so we don't want to fight too much, and Zaki can continue on. Now, Japan get a penalty for that, which means we then go into 2nd place, and Zaki has an absolute fantastic battle with Hungary. So, let's advance a bit further on in the race. What lap is this? Lap 9. Oh, okay, so M. Thomas has just come out the pits here, so we'll just look at this quickly. So, as you see, he's off there, so let's go a bit further back. There you go, there's M. Thomas. So, interesting, so he comes in the pits. I then come up behind, because that's the whole idea, is the second driver waits behind. I believe that's CSL 63 AMG in the car now for Japan. Here's Great Britain though, just look at the pit lane, look at the pit exit. So, M. Thomas just gets caught on the grass and that pulls him in. And that means Hungary and Austria go past, and Austria still had to pit. So, yeah, a bit unfortunate for M. Thomas. Initially in the stint, loses a little bit of time, gets into the swing of it, gets into the rhythm, starts to gain on France. So let's actually go to my stint now, which is at the end of this lap. So Great Britain, they're in 2nd place. M. Thomas had been catching a lot, so he was over nearly 3 seconds behind France, and at this point is 1 second. So, you know, big shout out to M. Thomas. Pad player as well, so significant that he actually put in such a good stint, because it meant we were actually in for a fight for the victory, which is pretty unbelievable, to be honest. So as you see, France are going to come in, and we're going to come in as well. So we've got 7 laps to make some moves. So then we got TRL outgoing in the car. Now I did see it was outgoing in the car, so I knew it'd be a very clean race with Aug. I already knew that straight away. As you see, the fuel is the same. They don't really want fuel trains, which is why it's like that. So here we go. Now, my thought process initially for leaving the pits and my first few laps was just to get a feel of the car, to really get a feel for the car. Understand the braking points, understand the accelerating points, make sure I understand where I am at. The slipstream will help me out a lot because I can just keep up, irrespective if I brake a little bit early or anything like that. And then towards the end of the race, I can then attack. And that was my idea. So the first couple of laps, that's all I do, basically. So let's advance a little bit further on. So here we go. You just see I made a little bit of a move there. Nothing major. I'm now getting used to this car. I'm on my second lap. I'm thinking, okay, excellent. Now I don't know the point situation at this point. I don't know if I come anywhere do we get anything? Because obviously you've got to work a lot out on the fly in this race, and it's changing all the time. As you can see, we're miles ahead of Spain at this point, so I knew it'd be a 2-horse race between me and TRL Aug. I thought, yes, we've got a cracking race here. We've got 2-car fight. Can we do this? Can we do it? That's what I was hoping for. As you can see, we're right behind TRL Aug, so I'm just waiting for my moment to come, really. I was very strong at that last corner. I was much stronger than most people at that last corner. I have no idea why. But even so, we continue on towards the first corner. Through there we go. Again, that's a very tricky corner. As you see, TRL Aug ran a little bit wide. And we get the lead. I didn't actually want the lead at that point. I wanted to save it a little bit. I didn't want to fight too much. But then TRL Aug's got dirt on his tyres. Now, one significant thing that wasn't really mentioned on the stream too much is that dirt on your tyres will last much longer at this event than it would on the game. So TRL Aug went to his braking point as normal there, just didn't have enough brakes because of the dirty air and also very dirty tyres, and that's the only reason. And then he stayed back, so he spoke to me after and just said, I stayed back a little bit there, I didn't want to then take the position off you, because then he'd get a penalty. Very smart racing, very fair race to TRL Aug. But as you can see, look, it's cost us a second there on time with Spain. So it's significant enough that it's like, ooh, actually, you know, we've got to be careful here. I don't want to fight too much. I want to keep the gap until the last lap and then have the fight. I don't care at that point then. Actually, Spain really going for it. You saw the rear end of that car come out there. As we continue on to start lap number 19. As you can see, France catching up. Slipstream again makes a significant difference here. So through the last corner, watch the gap increase there. I was always very strong at that last corner. That was significant, always significant. And keep that in mind for later on as well. So as we head towards this first corner, I get this corner slightly wrong. I've been so used to having slipstream that I broke a little bit too early. And as you see, Aug then realised that he was catching me very quick and managed to stop himself. Again, that cost us a little bit more time. So I don't defend a lot here because I don't want to fight it too much. I brake early to let Aug go. Again, I'm trying to hope that we push on and then we'll fight at the end of the race. But look how fast Spain are catching. They gained a significant amount of time with that move. You can see Team Hungary in there as well. Now Patrick in the car. He's going to be flying. Absolutely flying. So into the right-hander. You can see 1.6 seconds difference. By the way, the reason we got that little bit of a gap was because Hungary had a penalty in their last stint. There was an incident. So Hungary were really on fire at this point. Fotherras was going for it. And you can see everybody sort of catching up to each other. I did wonder whether Boost was on, but I don't think it was. So we continue on through here. As you can see, we're very close to France at this point. Very, very, very close. 3 attempts. Goes to 2 attempts again. As Tom tries to do maths on the points. Honestly, I had no idea what was going to happen here. As you can see on the right side, we're 3 points behind the podium at this point. I don't know that. I actually didn't think we were in a chance of a podium. So I wasn't actually. I just wanted some glory of trying to get the victory in this race. That's all I wanted. And then what will be, it will be. As you can see, Hungary very close to us now. So at this point, I'm in the situation I was in my race, which was I'm attacking and defending at the same time. Very, very hard to do. Very, very hard. But look at that. You can see that. 6 cars all on the same straight there. Absolutely insane. And then there's quite a big gap to the United States. Obviously, incidents here and there everywhere, which has just been significant enough. But look at this as well. It's mostly European countries at the top. Do you know what I mean? I've always said the EMEA region is the hardest region. It shows in these World Tours. Japan, I believe, is the fastest nation. But strongest region, EMEA for sure, I would say. As you can see, 5 cars all in with a chance of the victory. And again, at this point, I'm not trying to attack too hard. If I attack too hard, I know it's going to be significant. I want to stay in second because that slipstream will help me. As you can see, I get very, very close. I then try and back it off a little bit. Not try and get too close for this last corner. And as you see, look how much I gain instantly on the Aug on that last corner. I gain it all the time. And it was significant. So, penultimate lap. As you can see, I'm not trying to go for it too much. I'm just weaving. I'm just, you know, trying to make sure that Patrick doesn't go for it. Patrick obviously made a mistake there. Did not see that while I was racing. Obviously concentrating up ahead. This is where the slipstream is significant. You can see that again, a temp already. Nearly 2 temps. I look to go for the move. Try and go for it. Because I know if I can get away with it and get out of it, that's fine. At this point, don't quite do it. But it backs up everybody into the field. So at this point, we've got everybody fighting with everybody. It's crazy. So at this point, I have to go defensive. So let me just pause it here. because I went for that move, and I gained enough time where I could go for that move, I literally had to go defensive here. So I wasn't attacking France, I was defending from Patrick. And I knew what Patrick was sort of going to do. So as we come into this corner, now I know I said I wasn't going to attack into the last lap, but if you have the chance, that's when you do it. So that was in my mindset. I was never going to attack until the last lap. I got very close to France where I had to pull out, and then I broke, and then I was sort of side by side at that point. I then have to go for it and get past as fast as I can and hope Hungary catch up. So let's go to this 0.25. So watch this as it happens. So you can see here Aug takes the racing line. Now I can see Patrick catching me, so I go to the right hand side. And it's enough that it makes Patrick decide against it. It's just enough. It's perfect, because if it goes any tighter, it's going to cause an incident. So we stay in second place there. That's exactly what we want. Exactly what we want. Spain just trying to defend there from Japan as well. As we head towards the last lap. Oh my word, this is crazy. So obviously it's all going to be about the slipstream on this last lap. We all knew that. I reckon we all knew that anyway. So through the left-hander, and look how close we're getting again to TRL Aug. Very, very close. I enjoyed this car. I really got into it. I really did. And as you can see, we're just around 2 tenths. Now watch this exit out this last corner. Look at that gap shrink. Look at it. I was strong so much, so I had to go for the move at this point. So in my head, when I made that corner and you saw I was 2 tenths and it went to instantly 1.5 tenths, I was like, I can either nudge TRL Aug here to go forward, but that leaves me open to Patrick, or I'd go for the move. Now, I'd seen earlier on, and as I mentioned, Benjamin, or Benito Raul, he had gone for the move at turn 1, so I thought, okay, I'll go for the move here. I should be able to get it if I get alongside and nail it, basically. So as we go along, you can just see I'm not far enough along Aug's car. So while I get a good run out, I needed to stay in that slipstream a slight bit longer. So that was a mistake. Because I didn't do that, I was side by side. I got into the corner in the braking zone, and I was like this. I hope this is coming across right. So I was like this, right? So at this point, I can either try and outbrake him and get alongside like that, or I have to back out of it. I decided to back out of it because I wanted to stay clean. I really wanted to stay clean. So I back out of it a little bit, and we go for turn 1. So let me just slow this down a little bit here. Let me slow this down. So as I come into here, I'm now backing out of it at this point. I'm backing out of it. So TRL Aug going for the corner. And there's slight bit of contact there. Now, to make this corner clean too wide is it's quite an achievement in itself, to be honest. So we managed to get through there okay, but obviously Patrick's going to have seen this. Oh, Aug just runs a little bit wide because of it. Do you know what? That was just racing in my opinion. As we continue on now, so Patrick now looking to get the advantage. So let's go at normal speed here. Now Jimmy actually says in this that I was too kind. I could have maybe broke a tiny bit later or let off the brakes a little bit to try and get that position, but yeah, I don't know. You guys know I try and race as clean as I can, as fair as I can. It's a live event. You're thinking on the fly. I thought I could get the move done. I didn't quite get the move done, so I backed out of it. And then a slight bit of contact. So, yeah, I gave France a little bit of an advantage there. But even so, we continue on now. Hungary going for the move on France. Now, France obviously ran wide, so they've got dirt on their tyres. Now watch this. So France run wide. At this point, because Hungary slightly touched the curb, I'm thinking, oh my word, we have a chance still. We have a chance. France have run wide. I'll let France back on the track, so you'll start to see me go here. In fact, I'm going to put it on 0.25 for this entire section. So I let France back on, and we're going to have slipstream now behind Hungary. There you go. You can see France are back on. Now, we have a choice. We have a really big choice coming up. In fact, I wish I'd shown you another move earlier on that Zocchi did, which was round the outside. So, we've got slipstream. You can see this gap coming down here. 0.115. Patrick has to go defensive here. He has no choice other than to go defensive, which is fair enough. He does do that. So I go to the left-hand side. Now, earlier on, Zocchi tried to go around the outside at this corner. So I then go for it on the left-hand side. Now, I know whatever I do, I've got to brake later than Patrick and make sure I'm alongside. Make sure I'm alongside. So you'll see me let off the brakes a little bit. I don't know if you saw that there with the lights, but look how I'm sort of gaining here. Now, as we come into this section, I need to let the car roll and make sure we stay together here. As you can see, that's lovely stuff. Now, unfortunately, look at the trajectory of this car. It's aiming for this light green stuff over here. That's where I'm aiming for. Now, Patrick, in racing, he can do that. He can run me to that point if he wants. He can't run me to the gravel. He can run me to that point, though. And Patrick will know that it's quite slippy over there. So if you continue watching here, I have to back out of it. Look how close I got to that. I had to back out of it. I knew what was coming. So I backed out of it in the hope that I would have a run going towards the second to last corner over here. France obviously behind here. So I'm going to try and push myself a little bit more here. And try and get close. And the commentator's picked up on that. Perhaps it's going to be the last sector. As you can see, it's 0.4. I'm now trying to get as close as I can, as fast as I can. Spain had obviously dropped down at this point, which was significant for us because we needed this last position. France are obviously losing out to Japan there. But look, we lost too much time, really. Lost too much time. So 0.4 down to 0.3. You'll see how much we gain here. And again, last corner. We are so fast at this last corner. I don't know why. Look how fast we gain. Look at this. Significant. Absolutely significant. But Patrick gets it. We get the second place there. Again, I didn't know what had happened at this point. I really didn't know what had happened in terms of the points. And where we were in terms of everybody else in the championship. I had literally just raced my heart out to try and get a victory there for Team GB. Unfortunately, we didn't get it, but we had a good race all the same. And we were in on the final lap, which is the whole, you know, the great stuff about it, really. Unfortunately, obviously that penalty will have cost us earlier on. And we all shake hands and stuff because it was bloody good racing. Bloody good racing. Very exciting to watch. Very exciting to be a part of. And that is what I believe the Nations Cup should be all about. One make and just, you know, balance of performance doesn't matter, and it's just all about the racing. All about the racing. As you see, Team Hungary there. That's Benito Raiola on the right. We've got Patrick, which is Williams Viveras in the middle, and then we've got TX3 Adam on the left-hand side. But yeah, as I say, it was absolutely brilliant. So I kind of hope you've enjoyed this analysis of the Nations Cup. We've got a manufacturers one coming on Tuesday, which again will be interesting because I can give you my thought process on the manufacturers, especially with something happened which I was really frustrated about. In fact, there's two things that happened I was really frustrated about. So yeah, make sure you tune into that one. But I do want to show you the points of the well, if we can find the points. Where are the points? Points. As you see there, we're all shaking hands. That's Lightning that I was shaking hands with there. Here we go. So look at the points. Look at those points. 1 point off a podium. I did not even realise how close it was until after the first manufacturer race. 2 points off second. 1 point off the podium. And all really because maybe it's my car choice. Maybe it's the penalty. I think the penalty was more significant with Zocchi because I don't think it was a penalty. And if that was the case, remember, we were 3 points off where we should have been. It should be 10 points that we're on, not 7. And look where that would have put us. We would have been second. We would have got second. We would have got another trophy. What? To be fair, though, I'm still happy with our performance. As a team, it's pretty amazing. I mean, we've got M. Thomas, a pad player. Really stunning performance. Zocchi again, really stunning performance. I think that was Zocchi's first live event. Don't quote me on that, but I think it was. And then obviously I feel like an old git now because I've been to so many of these events. But again, I think I put in quite a solid performance in terms of Nations Cup. I did my best in the first race. That's all I could do. And in that race, I could have maybe done a few decisions differently, but if opportunity arises, I have to go for it. And then in all the situations, I went for it. I did go for it. But as I say, that's been the Nations Cup analysis. I hope you enjoyed that. A long video, actually. I didn't expect it to be 50 minutes because we've got less races than the Nürburgring one. But alas, it is. And that is it. So, again, I hope you enjoyed the video. Tune in for the manufacturers one, which will be shorter than this one. But as I say, that's it for now. So there's a video playlist there if you want, or a video if you want to watch another one. My logo's there if you want to subscribe. Like it if you like it. Dislike if you dislike it. Leave a comment if you've got an opinion, you want something changing, want additions, any other thought processes, questions, anything else about the event. But that's it from me for now. Thanks very much for watching. I'll see you next time.